Hello? Tyrese, you still streaming? No. Okay, I'm live. Alright, guys. You coming to get it back in blood. I was level like 15. Where's that? Oh, right here. That's why I got heavy load on. Okay, medium load. Did Moon drink that? Alright, let's go get him back in play. I'm out of arrows. Downside. Got me.
Attacked me. We were sitting opposite each other. About a month ago, I met his cousin, a straight woman with a wasp band. And you know when you meet someone and you immediately know you'll be friends? It was like that. We've seen each other twice since the initial meeting. One with my fiancé there and the other day when we went shopping and got coffee without him. She took a picture of the two of us sitting on opposite sides of a table at Starbucks, posted it on Facebook, and tagged me. We were sitting opposite each other, weren't touching or even looking at each other in the picture. Tonight my fiancé then shows me a message from his mother. Honey, I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you this, but you have a right to know. Alp has been unfaithful and has betrayed you in the worst of ways. If you need me, I'm here." Then she sent a screenshot of the photo of me and the cousin. She tried to tell my fiancé that I was cheating on him with his straight, married, female cousin. He replied with 3 cry-laughing emojis and a reminder that the woman was his cousin on his father's side who was married. Her parents divorced, so he thought she might genuinely not have known. Instead of bowing out graciously with what little was left of her dignity, she then doubled down, saying I didn't want to have to do this but here, and then sent him a photo of me with an older blonde woman who she has never met. This woman was, drumroll please, my sister. She's is my half-sister, so mother-in-law probably didn't know, but my fiancé knows my sister. My fiancé thinks this is the funniest thing in the world, and showed it to me as a joke, and I agree. Not the first time she's done something like this, but definitely the funniest. Fiancé says the jury's out on whether he's inviting her to the wedding or not because, like I said, this isn't the first time she's done something like this. I'm hoping she's not at our wedding. But also, I would love to see her face at my wedding when she sees my sister as my maid of honor, and hears her speech of I'm so happy for my little sister. Mother-in-law told my fiancé I'm cheating on him with his female. Today I fucked up by snorting white powder at the airport.
Okay, that's a very weird way to go into a story. That works? They knock him down? Moving kind of crazy. Oh god, I pushed the wrong button last minute. Are you serious? That was my opening. That was my opening I was waiting for. Some of the weapon he using? Damn. Just hit a black foot. Alright. Are you serious? I hit the wrong button again. I'm a one tap. He won. You won this round. I keep hitting the block button on accident.
What's the most impressive thing you've done? Using chopsticks. I'm Chinese, and What is the most remarkable thing you have done? One day on the way home from work, I saw several high school students riding their bicycles. Suddenly, I got back at childhood bullies by destroying an entire town. Years ago, I was that trenchcoat kid and I came back in town and destroyed it. As a background, I grew up in a conservative little town in a conservative rural area heavily dominated by religion. This makes people put great stock on moral purity and appearances. Keeping up the facade is the most important thing. Everyone must go to church weekly, and people are heavily judged for appearing sinful. This was a bad thing for me as the cards were heavily stacked against me from birth. You see, I was born from my mom getting violated by men.
Whoa!
When she was young and was taken in by her uncle and aunt. The uncle had abusing my mom, it was ignored by everyone. When she got pregnant, it was painted as showing that she's a harlot running around seducing married men. She was cast out. Why she didn't move out of town, I don't know, but yeah. There I became into the picture, born out of wedlock and with no father, branded as a sinful outcast. My childhood was shit. I don't go into details, but enough to say that by the time I started going to school, I was quite damaged. The school made it worse. I was bullied relentlessly. Teachers were part of it, since they were all part of the religious community, which saw me as
God! All I need to do is survive. Couple more hits, 2 more hits. Miss. You gonna go for a up claw? You rushing in? We? Down. Up claw. Down swing. Are you serious? His movement is so weird, and I forgot to lock on.
Imagine being the only black kid in a town run by KKK, and you get close to how it was. So
Oh,
yeah,
God.
In school I became the trenchcoat kid or its local cultural equivalent. I became weird and hostile on purpose to turn people off. People were casting me into the mold of being damaged and stained. So yeah, I took it and turned it into something to protect myself with. Despite all this opposition, I managed to graduate with decent grades. A distant aunt, my only decent relative, helped me get into a college in an actual city. She was the black sheep of the family, and saw herself in me, maybe? Around this time, my mother drank herself to death. Can't blame her for it. She had a life insurance policy that helped me study. City life liberated me. I went into therapy and managed to treat the wounds that the town had sliced into me. I got rid of that crappy town, but I guess some part of it never left me.
Alright, guys. It's time to become a bitch and spam every move. Okay. Alright, he ate it, he ate it. How good? Damn! You becoming more aggressive? Alright, alright. We? Bring it, bring it, bring it. Dash. Let's go! Hey, can't beat them? Sit there and spam. Watch they become bitches. Let's go. I think that was like my 5th try on him.
Years went by. I became A.
It was a lot. My heart, I need to take a breather. Oh. No, my heart was pounding. Cause all he had to do was hit me like 2 more times and I would have died right there. Yeah, I got it. 5 tries. After 5 tries, defeating the first and second boss. Oh, go ahead. Oh yeah, that is inventory. I'm tripping. Oh, there you go, right there. It's real good. I don't have enough strings. Where's my string? Yes, just one more. That's not what I meant to do. Let me check. Let me check my stats. Oh! Oh my god, that's so much. So I just need to go farm somewhere. Okay, I know where I'm going. I haven't been. Someone who cares. Who cares? Right, and it's thundering. Ow. Yeah, hopefully, cause I want to be midstream. And it goes off. All right. Yeah. Oh, that's so stupid. At least I can hit multiple enemies. I literally one tap him now. I'm not gonna get hit. Y'all wanna see something cool? I want to see what they. You said what? Oh, you seen what I just did? Will they notice me? Crap. I'm gonna redo it and see what they notice me. Oh, they will. Okay. What? Like what like what do you mean messed up? Like it glitches or something? Are you playing No Limits? How much money I'm at? How much money you said? I don't give a mad. Come to witness, man. How y'all doing? Even though it's 3 in the morning. How y'all doing? Imagine a team full of Pharaohs just shooting at you.
I work for an international company that does sort of out-of-the-box analysis for other companies. I won't go into details to protect my identity, but we assist in solving all kinds of situations. Well, in my line of work, I'm sometimes called in to help downsize operations. This sucks. I feel for the people who get fired, but if I wouldn't do it, someone else would. A couple of years ago, I got an assignment to go into 3 different factories and assemble wholesale, then come up with a suggestion on which of them to move abroad. My hometown was among those 3 factories. You see, the shitty town I grew up in was one of those one smokestack towns, as we say in my country. There was one factory and some agriculture. Everyone worked in those jobs, like 60% of people in the factory. The economy was around, supporting the factory, people worked. Most of the people were looking forward to nothing but a job in the factory after getting out of school. The religious community running the town ran the factory as well. The big shots in the community tended to be bosses of the factory.
Okay, big bitch. You're a mutt. Learn your place.
Recognized me at first. The chubby outcast had become outwards. Just another criminal. I inspected all the paperwork, listened to all their speeches and lies, and audited the processes. In the process, I dropped hints, and finally, they got who I was. The factory people threw a party for me then. Many of my old school buddies were there. We remembered fake good times together. Just to see the atmosphere turn awkward. Then I laughed at it like it was always a joke, and I had grown up. Inside, I was seeing the people enjoying this all. I really loved seeing their faces, seeing what they had become. They screwed. I was going to take it. In the end, they seemed relieved, believing that they were lucky to be doing the audit, and that the hometown boy would protect them. After my visit, lasting a couple of days, was over, I cruised around the town in my rented car, just to see how the people lived and to remember what it was like. My state of mind was something close to arousal. I had never understood why people pursue positions of power, but yeah, now I understand. The rest is, as they say, history. I wrote a really scathing report, documenting every little flaw and mistake ever made in the town plant. I didn't need to lie or fabricate. I simply took things that existed and polished them till they looked even worse than they were. The factory was shut down, and in the following 3 years, the town died. No business venture ever came to replace it. Drug use and alcohol use spiked, as did crime and domestic violence. Lives fell apart. Families fell apart. They still haven't recovered, save for a few brighter souls who moved away. I still stalk them on social media sometimes, enjoying how crappy their lives are, how they all finally got to pay for what they did to me and my mom.
Damn, nigga, chill. I don't want my power go out like it did last week. Snapped you out of it, huh? What is going on? That was a lot of overkill. Having a magic is OP. How much magic? I need 2,000 more. You said what? I need 2,000 more. On one tap. Let's get in a fight. Hey yo, you see me? I was talking to myself. I don't need to crouch and ambush them. I was doing something very special, sir. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to go to a graves and reset anyway. I need to check out that labyrinth over there. I'm gonna check it out. Wrong way. Don't actually run into him. And he was headed that way too. What the? I did not notice that woman up there. But anyway, back to the... That's the moon? They got... Huh? Okay, that is screenshot material right there. That is not what I meant to do. I clicked the wrong button, not once but twice.
I don't feel a slight bit of remorse. If I could do it all again, I would, only I'd first make it so I could be present to watch when they receive the news, be a dick to everyone at work, enjoy having no internet. At my last job, my main duty was a woman let her dog shit on the airport floor. So I shit on her plans. While walking to my pedophile harasses my 8-year-old daughter on Minecraft. My 8-year-old daughter is really into Minecraft. She also desperately wanted to join the YouTube Let's Play culture, so I had installed some screen recording software that would let her make videos of the games she was playing so she could later upload them to YouTube. One day I'm minding my own business when I hear her quietly sniffling over on the computer. I asked her what was wrong, but she didn't want to tell me, so I let it go, but decided to keep an eye on her. A few minutes later, I discovered what was happening. Someone was harassing not only her, but also all the other kids playing on whatever server she was on. This little shithead, LS, was saying shit about how he was going to rape my 8-year-old daughter.
Hey, yo.
She told him how old she was, hoping he would stop. He didn't, and saying even worse things. He also said how he was going to hack into her IP and steal all her info, swearing profusely, and multiple other things. By this time I had gotten my fiancé involved. We realized that our daughter had been recording the entire incident, and a plan began to form. I started by Googling LS's username. There were several hits immediately, the most interesting of which involved a page where he was publicly applying to be a mod for a server on Minecraft. I was able to learn a lot about this little boss. He claimed to be 15, likes hockey, and used to live in Toronto but now lives in Florida.
How much money I got? Didn't mean to do that. I got a question. If I lured this big dude over to the dragon, will they fight? If I lured that big dude in golden armor to the dragon, let's go find those. I sit there and just watch too. I'm gonna try after I level up. I got too much money to be losing. It's definitely something. Is he looking at me? You want the smoke? Just say it. He's coming over here. I'm just playing, bro. I'm just playing. Bro. Big body bitch, I'm coming to kill your whole race. I'm killing your kids, your mother, your grandfather, your whole race, your whole species, your whole bloodline. I'm coming. Pause. I'm killing them all.
But the bombshell was easily his Skype contact info. It was literally his first and last name. I know your name now, you little shit. So I head over to Facebook and search for the name. Nothing. On a hunch, I searched for just the last name, while narrowing my results to a state several dozen hits. So I combed through each one, until I found what I was looking for. A middle-aged man with the same last name, whose profile indicates he was born in Toronto and now lives in Florida. I found your dad, you little shit. So I sent him a message on Facebook, asking if he had a son who goes by his username or Minecraft. Dad confirmed I had the right guy. So my wife began telling the dad everything that LS was saying to my daughter, and we sent him the recorded video as proof. Radio silence for a few days. Then we got the message back. LS has been taken away from his entire summer, and had also been lying about his age. He's almost 18. His parents were fucking with him, and he sure hated the next few months of his life. The dad said to tell him that LS tries everything else, and they will kick him out as soon as he turns 18. No one fucks with my daughter. Pedophile harasses my 8-year-old daughter on Minecraft. My 8-year-old daughter is really into Minecraft. She today I hooked up by kissing my deaf friend. I'm
What?
a 22-year-old guy, and I met a girl through a mutual friend. We've known each other for roughly a year, but haven't spent time alone yet. Always a friend. She's very sweet and pretty. She was born here, but had an accident and is hard of hearing and wears hearing aids, so she can communicate almost completely normal, and I often forget that she has hearing problems.
I swear, bro. Why did it take you hellas to get up, nigga? Nah. That's your fucking fault, bro.
Yesterday, we met up with our mutual friends. We were having a barbecue. Later on, we ran out of snacks, so the other two went to the grocery store. Me and her were alone in the yard. We were just chatting and hanging out. That's when I noticed that she kept staring at my lips, so I thought to myself, does she want to kiss me? Since she didn't stop staring, I thought that it's obvious. I'm not going to miss a hint. I leaned in to give her a kiss. I mean, she did kind of kiss me back, but afterwards it was like dead silence. The awakeness was so thick you could see it. Thank God the other two arrived a few minutes later. The rest of the evening was super awkward between us. Later, as she left, I told the other two friends that I had kissed her because she kept staring at my lips. They started laughing, saying, of course she's staring at your lips. She's slippery. I felt so stupid and so bad. I completely forgot. Oh, she didn't say it all night long. I had to kiss her in the kitchen myself. I decided I needed to apologize, so I sent her a message asking if she wanted to come. And she did. I didn't tell her before I could want to talk to her about the kiss, so it was an awkward approach at the time. I told her that I didn't mean to make her feel uncomfortable. Afterwards, I asked her if she'd be down to maybe try things out if she's interested. She admitted to loving me. The thing is, she's going to move to Munich, Germany in a few months, and she told me
They completely kill all my dogs? Oh, I ran out of magic. All that for a leaf. Are animals fighting over there? Oh, none. I'm just hunting crabs. Like I said, I was going to destroy their entire species. Buddy, bitch. Really noticed. He's not gonna get the chance though. Yes. Yeah, I know. I'm stuck. I'm sweating right now. You can only summon the wolves once? Wow, I need y'all, bitch. Your breath already. Oh, you just checked it over there. I'm finna murder all your kids. Everybody good? Again, what's that? Are you fucking serious?
The cute gym employee thinks I'm a trans woman. I'm an Asian guy with a pretty small frame at only 5'5", long black hair, and no facial hair. I'm bulking and going to the gym less since the lockdown, so I'm also chubby, and it seems like I have big man boobs. Since the lockdown is ending, I can finally go back to my old gym. I go in on the first day of reopening. I do my thing on the machines and maybe push myself a little too hard, or I am just out of shape because I was a complete mess by the end of my workout. I make my way toward the men's room, and this cute gym employee was sanitizing the water fountain in between the men's and women's rooms. I know her. She worked here for a few years now, and I always thought she was the cutest employee here. I even spotted her once when she was off duty and working out. But she stopped me, and she said you can use that one, pointing to the women's room. And in my exhausted and muscle-ache state, I thought perhaps there was something wrong with the men's room and that they closed it off. So I went into the women's room, which was empty since I was one of the last people in the gym, and I take care of my business. When I came out, she said, I think what you're doing is great. I support you and not being stupid. For some reason, I thought she just meant going to the gym on the first day of reopening. It wasn't until I got to my car that the light bulb in my head finally turned on. She must think I'm a trans woman. The long hair, man boobs, short height, and no facial hair. Now it wouldn't be so bad if that was the only interaction I had with her. But the next day she came over as I was running on the treadmill to introduce herself. And because I had been going to the gym almost every day after opening, she and I have developed a sort of friendship. I wouldn't even dreamed of this before COVID. I was super introverted and shy, and usually usually just keep to myself during gym. Just today, she asked how long I've been transitioning, and I said since COVID. I don't know how long I can keep this up.
Oh yeah, bitches. Don't worry, I'll be back. What a great side. I just seen it over there. Is it over there? I just seen it. Where did I go? What did that? Where is that Grace? Forget it. Just tell me.
The cute gym employee thinks I'm a trans woman. I'm an Asian guy with a pretty small frame and only update. I destroyed my entire family for $99.99. I'm my mom and uncle's child. My uncle's my dad. With the recent craze of DNA testing, my family decided to try it out too. We got our results back on my birthday, and I went into the DNA relatives section to check out my matches. At the top, it listed my dad as only sharing 29.2% DNA with me and is predicted to be a half-brother, which is impossible. This didn't make sense to me since we also shared a paternal haplogroup, and we just looked so alike, so he was definitely my father. My cousin also had taken the test a while back, and she shared 24.6% with me, also predicted to be my half-sibling. We're supposed to share around 12% as first cousins. I couldn't think of a genetic relationship that would explain what I was seeing. I called the testing place, and they said the shared percentages are extremely accurate and highly unlikely to be false. The only realistic explanation for what I was seeing was that my uncle, my cousin's father, and my dad's brother, is my father. Reality hit me in the face like a flying bag of bricks. All the dots lined up, and I felt a sense of loss. I sat in my room for an hour just in
I need a couple
and
more.
I had a feeling of anger come over me. I need answers. Without even thinking, I rushed out of my room and confronted my mother downstairs. My mom is often away on business trips. She had no idea we had done one of these tests since she just got back from a trip. My mother and I never had a traditional relationship. She was always focused on her work, and my dad ended up raising me. I didn't even sugarcoat it. I asked her if she cheated on Dad with Uncle David. I have never seen the color drain from someone's face so quickly. She looked dumbfounded and then mumbled, "What kind of question is this?" Of course not. I told her everything. The test, percentages, DNA matches, all of it. Shit hit the fan. My mom fell to the ground crying, begging me not to tell Dad. I left her there and went back into my room. I called my cousin, who I guess is my half-sister, and told her everything. She ended the call screaming at Dad, "Uncle David." My dad then came home and stumbled into my room, asking what's wrong with Mom. I told him everything too. He didn't say anything and left the room. For the next few hours, I heard my entire family fall apart outside my door. My parents got into a heated argument, and my grandparents rushed over to see what was going on. My aunt and Uncle David showed up shortly later, and Dad and David get into a big fight. Utter chaos, all on the day of my birthday. If I had spent my fucking birthday money on something else, none of this would have happened. I'm too scared to go outside. Fuck my life. I destroyed my entire family for $99.99. I'm my mom and uncle's child. My uncle's my dad. With the recent craze of DNA testing, my family decided to try it out too. We got our results back on my birthday, and I went into the DNA relatives section to check out my matches. At the top, it listed my dad as only sharing 29.2%. Which is impossible. This didn't make sense to me since we also shared a paternal haplogroup, and we just looked so alike, so he was definitely my father. My cousin also had taken the test a while back, and she shared 24.6% with me, also predicted to be my half-sibling. We're supposed to share around 12% as first cousins. I couldn't think of a genetic relationship that would explain what I was seeing. Update, I destroyed my entire family for $99.99. I eventually left my room. There were broken plates and furniture everywhere. Mom was at the table sobbing. Everyone else had left. I called my dad, and he and my aunt were actually at the hospital with my grandma. She couldn't get the situation and had a heart attack right there. I left my mom without saying a word and went to the hospital. I got there, saw my grandmother in a stable condition, and then sat down with my dad to talk. The first thing we told each other was that this situation didn't change our relationship. He was still my father, and I was still his son. I got the confirmation of my dad and David getting into some pretty intense fighting, and both of them fought each other up pretty hard. My dad has a bunch of bruises, and David had to get stitches. My mother had told my dad that she was drunk and David raped her. The only reason she had not told anyone was out of fear of destroying my father's family. Dad then suggested going to the police. She refused and started to slightly change her story, making my dad down her claim. That's when David and everyone else came over. David claimed my mother was lying to save her own ass, and that they had consensual sex constantly. They had been doing it before I was born, and are still doing it to this day. My dad and I have no idea who to believe. He says his relationships with my mother and David had always been good. He's not sure what to do. David's wife, my aunt, is filing for divorce since this occurred after they were married. My cousin is holding up alright, although she's still pretty shaken up. I'm pretty worried about her since she has depression. She and I will both be staying with my grandparents for the new few weeks until we figure out what to do. If anyone else had been through this, any advice would help. Update, I destroyed my entire family for $99.99. I eventually left my room. There were broken plates and furniture everywhere. Mom was at the table sobbing. Everyone else had left. I called the cute gym employee. Mother kicked my dog, so I kicked her out. Today my mother-in-law was over, and as always, she started to talk about children. We're married for 8 years now, but we don't have children because we don't want them, and mother-in-law has a hard time wrapping her head around it. She started to wail that we were going to be too old soon. She thinks our dog is at fault. She sees our dog as some kind of a hindrance that prevents us from having children. She says something like, if you didn't have the dog, you could have children more safely, or so weird that you care so much about an animal but don't even think about having your own child. Our German Shepherd is 14 years old now. Of course, we realize that his life is coming to an end, and it's really hard because he has been my dog since I was a teenager, and my husband has come to love him even more. He's like a child to us, and it's very difficult to say goodbye. He doesn't have any terminal illnesses though, and the vet said that as long as he's still eating, drinking, and walking, we don't have to think about putting him down yet. So after we told mother-in-law that having a kid or not is our decision, and none of her business, she got upset. She went to the short hallway where our dog was lying down. I went out of the living room just in time to see mother-in-law snarling, "Get out of the way, you dirty mutt," as she kicked him on the side repeatedly. The dog jumped up aside, surprised, as he had never been hit before. I screamed at her, "What the hell are you doing? Why would you kick the dog?" Mother-in-law said, "Well, why is he getting in my way, moving like a snail? I don't have time to stand here forever." She could have easily walked past him. The hallway is wide enough to fit 3 people. But no, she probably thought that no one would see her taking her frustration out on the dog. I told her that the dog lives in this house and she doesn't. The dog is our family and doesn't have any fault in anything. If we wanted to have children, we would. Have them regardless of owning a dog. He's not an obstacle. And I told her that if she ever does something like that again, I will rip her head off. My husband didn't see mother-in-law kicking the dog, but he heard the noise and came to see what was going on, and I told him what she did. At first, he couldn't believe it, and then he blazed at her. He was 100% on my side, and he told her to leave our house and never come back. He said she'll never step over the doorstep of our house because our dog deserves the peaceful remaining time of his life.
Big buddy bitch!
I was surprised. I knew he would be above his brother, but I never thought he had that much of his mom. Mother-in-law was told her that if she ever does something like that again, I will rip her head off. My husband didn't see mother-in-law kicking the dog, but he heard the noise and came to see what was going on, and I told him what she did. At first, he couldn't believe it, and then he blazed in fury. He was 100% on my side, and he told her to leave our house and never come back. He said she'll never step over the doorstep of our house because our dog deserves a peaceful remaining time of his life and she's a danger to him. I was surprised. I knew he put me above his mother, but I never thought he had that much of a spine. Mother-in-law was starting to say something, but my husband dragged her into the foyer. He didn't even let her get dressed. He threw her jacket and her boots out the door.
When did I go over here?
He blocked her on everything and told her never to contact us again, and even if we ever decide to have children, she'll never see them. Mother kicked my dog, so I kicked her out. Today my mother-in-law was over, and as always, she started to talk about children. We're married for 8 years now, but we don't have children because we don't want them, and mother-in-law has a hard time wrapping her head. Mother-in-law didn't tell us that they had COVID because they didn't want to ruin Christmas. We arrived at my in-laws after a 4-hour drive for Christmas. Am I the a-hole for standing my mother from attending my sister's wedding because she wore a wedding dress? My sister had a lockdown wedding. They only planned on having 10 people, including the bride and the officiant. Social distancing was observed, and we all wore masks. My mother has a history of making events about herself. For example, she showed up an hour late to my high school graduation and grounded me because you made me miss your walk. Well, it gets worse, cause she didn't show up at all to either of my sister's graduations. She decided she didn't like my college major and refused to go to my college graduation. She also hid my sister's car keys, so she couldn't go either. My 16-year-old sister at the time went on the bus and train for 4 hours alone. She ended up almost getting kidnapped. My mom turned up halfway through my wedding ceremony in sweatpants and pajamas just to make a scene because you guys didn't tell me the right time. We did tell her. Wanted to hold my 1-month-old baby and drop it, blaming it on the baby. So we kind of knew she would pull some shit at my sister's wedding, especially considering she hates the gay relationship, constantly making homophobic comments, and banning my sister from family gatherings. We don't know our dad, and there wasn't really a bridal party, so I ended up as 3-in-1 the father of the bride, brother of the bride, and maid of honor. My main job that day was to keep our mother in check. The night before, my wife and kids stayed at my mother's house, while I stayed with my sister. The plan was that my wife would drive our kids and my mother, since mother can't drive. The morning of the wedding, my wife sent me a photo of what my mother planned on wearing. It was a wedding dress. Not only that, the exact same wedding dress my sister's wife was wearing. My wife tried to suggest she wear something else, but apparently, this was the only nice thing she owned, and that the wedding was already non-traditional. Anyway, because it's a gay wedding, so the wedding dress should be allowed. When my wife told me this, I told her to tell Mother that there was a change of plans and that we would pick her up in the nicer car I was driving my sister in so she could make a grand entrance. She obviously agreed, so I didn't see an issue when my wife and kids left on their own at the original time. As the title suggests, my sister and I never picked her up. I told my sister what was happened and showed her the picture, and she wasn't surprised at all. I went back right before the ceremony to see if Mother saw her wrongs, but she was still in the wedding dress.
Oh,
So
I forgot to go get my money.
And never called any of us, so we just got on with the day. The wedding was beautiful and intimate without my mother. We all had a great time. A lot of people are calling me cruel for that. Am I the asshole? I feel like my sister deserves to have a normal wedding that's not ruined. Am I the a-hole for my sister-in-law?
I'm gonna go get that right now. Is it up here? No. Just down here. Yep, right there. That's it.
My stepdaughter. My in-laws are going through a divorce. What happened at the craziest party you ever... My sister-in-law is my stepdaughter. My in-laws are going through a divorce. They're both nasty people in their own right, and my father-in-law was trying to weasel his way out of paying child support. A paternity test was done on all 4 of their children. My father-in-law reached out to us last weekend to share his findings. We found out that my sister-in-law, who is 16, was my husband's daughter. He's 30 now, meaning he'd have been 14 when she was conceived. My mother-in-law is refusing to answer any questions that came from this bombshell and is hiding behind her lawyer. My husband says he never had sex with his wife but did engage in certain practices with his mother that led to him becoming estranged from her. This all happened long before I met him. My husband had another test done. It's proven that my father-in-law was not lying, and there were no errors with the original test. My husband is his sister's father. There have been a lot of emotions in our family since the confirmation. My husband has broken down completely and has been talking to me about the abuse and past trauma. I don't feel comfortable going into the gory details, but he was repeatedly molested and forced into intercourse by his mother over a several-year period when he was 12 to 15. He keeps telling me that he numbed himself into thinking they didn't have sex and that she didn't sexually abuse him. But revisiting all the suppressed memories, he's thinking otherwise. It all occurred during my father-in-law's deployment. She told my husband that it was now his job as the man of the house to meet her needs during that time. He describes it as her making him play with her. My sister-in-law and stepdaughter have been removed from my mother-in-law's care, and my mother-in-law has been arrested. We might get custody of her. Has this happened to anyone else? No. My sister-in-law is my stepdaughter. My in-laws are going through a divorce. They're both nasty people in their own right, and my father-in-law was trying to weasel his way out of paying child support. A paternity test was done on all 4 of their children. My father-in-law reached out to us last weekend to share his findings. We found out that my sister-in-law, who is 16, was my husband's daughter. He's 30 now, meaning he'd have been 14 when she was conceived. My mother, what happened at the craziest party you ever attended? I attended a New Year's party held at the house of a porn star. It was a villa and in Marbella, so we were destined for a good time. I know porn stars act like animals, but I didn't realize they party like the Spaniards too. Alcohol was most definitely involved and large amounts of booze were consumed by everyone. Considering this was a villa, the party held a total of about 150 people. Shenanigans started early when a girl was found unclothed going to town on herself on top of the Bentley parked outside. I however stayed on the calmer side, only for a while though. We played some drinking games and I refused to join. That was until the corn star herself asked me to join. Apparently she found me super attractive and made it her mission to sleep with me. She asked me to join the drinking games and seduced me with a game called Do or Drink that she found on Amazon. She explained the rules. Do the dare written on the card or take a shot. The game consisted of 7 of us while all others were off doing something else. During the course of this game, secrets were revealed, clothes were removed, neck was given and alcohol was consumed.
Damn it.
7 of us got super rowdy and were very intoxicated. There were only 4 of us left, as 2 guys and 1 girl who originally started turned to a card dare into the 2 guys tag team with the girl and went to a separate room. That left the 4 of us, and I was the only guy. Thank the lucky stars and thank Do or Drink. Somehow we were uninterrupted by anyone else at the party. Sadly, one of the 3 other girls had too much to drink and projectile vomited all over another girl in the game. Thankfully, it was not the porn star. The projectile vomit girl excused herself to the bathroom and the other girl got up and left. That left just me and the porn star. Wasting no time, we played the game for another 2 rounds each before ending up in bed and going down for 3 rounds. However, I was dumb. I went unprotected. A week later, my PP started to itch and it started burning when I peed. I was back home in Ohio and decided to get tested. Lo and behold, I got the clap from her. What happened at the craziest party you ever attended? I attended a New Year's party held at the house of a porn star. It was a villa in Marbella, so we were destined for a good time. I know porn stars act like animals, but I didn't realize they party like the Spaniards too. Alcohol was most definitely involved and large amounts of booze were consumed by everyone. Considering this was a villa, the party held a total of about 150 people. Shenanigans started early when a girl was found unclothed going to town on herself on top of the Bentley parked outside. I however stayed on the company. Taxi drivers, what's the scariest thing that has happened? My father was a taxi driver for almost 15 years, and this made him quit his job. He picked up a man in a good area of town. The man wanted a ride to a house on the other side of town, which was a lot worse and had gang activities. When my dad arrived at the destination in the dark and shady area of a neighborhood, he felt something cold and metal touching his head. He looked in his rearview mirror to see the customer had put a gun to his head. My dad froze, and then there was a click, and the sound of something hitting the floor of the cab, and a jangle of bullets pouring on the ground. The guy's gun had jammed, with the clip popping out. The guy bolted from the cab and ran off into the night. My dad took his cab to the nearest car wash and cleaned out the back seat, covered with bullets, and an empty clip. He stayed at the car wash for a few hours to calm his nerves down. He decided he was going to quit on the spot, but he didn't want his taxi career to end on this. So he wanted to take one more trip and go home. It was at a bar not too far from where the guy ran off. A young guy with 2 women comes into the cab, all drunk. Most of the ride was fine. The 2 girls in the back were joking around, and the guy was on the passenger side and was quiet most of the time. However, when they almost got to the destination, the guy pulled out a gun, and my dad nearly shit his pants. But he just showed it to my dad with no bad intent. The guy said he saw some man burying it in the trash at the bar bathroom. He took it because he thought it was funny. My dad kicked them out of the cab and went home. He never went back again. Taxi drivers, what's the scariest thing that has happened? Taxi drivers, what's the craziest customer interaction you've had? I was a taxi driver in a city near the East Coast a few years back. One of the scariest things that happened was as I was driving around, I saw a pickup basketball game get pretty heated. One of the kids, who was a tall African-American kid, started trying to argue a call made by a few hoodlums. It was a bad idea from the start. The kid was outnumbered, and what's worse is when the fight started escalating, one of the other kids pulled out a knife. It was bound to turn into a whole gang fight. I got on my phone to dial the police, but as I was about to hit the call button on my phone, some older black lady came rushing onto the court with a bat. It turns out it was one of the kid's moms, the tall one who was outnumbered. She grabbed him and started screaming at him and the other kid, but I couldn't understand what she was saying. She dragged the tall kid off court and into the car, assuming they went home. Anyways, after this incident, I decided to move out to Los Angeles because I figured that city was a bit too dangerous for my tastes. On my first day driving a taxi in LA, I was driving near LAX and some tall African-American kid flagged me down. The kid gets in the cab. To my surprise, it was the exact same kid from the East Coast who was being yelled at by his mom. Astounded, I turned to the kid to ask him why he was in LA, but before I could say anything, he stuck his arm out the window and yelled, "Yo Holmes, to Bel Air." He rapped the entire way, almost 15 minutes, to his destination, and I never got a chance to talk to him. Taxi drivers, what's the craziest customer interaction you've had? I was a taxi driver in a city near the East Coast a few years back. One of the scariest things that happened was as I was driving around, I saw a pickup basketball game get. What is a weird childhood memory you have that you don't know whether it's true or not? I have this one memory. I just turned 2 years old, and my family and I were at my grandparents' backyard pool. My mom was in the shallow end of the pool with my older brother, and he was clinging to her, too afraid to dip even a toe into the water. My dad was on the patio on the side of the shallow end with my grandpa and grandma. They were barbecuing and chatting. Just a peaceful family day. I remember thinking my mom looked a little annoyed that my brother was being unreasonably afraid of the water, so my 2-year-old mind decided I would show my brother how it was done. I got out of the shallow end of the pool and ran down to the deep end. I took off my water wings and life jacket, then proclaimed proudly to my family about being brave and better than my brother. Then jumped in. The next part of my memory takes a very different tone. I just remember how serene and peaceful it was. Everything was quiet and calm. To this day, I haven't ever experienced anything similar to it. I was sinking. All I could see was blue and bubbles from my mouth were going up in front of my eyes. It was so peaceful and comforting. I could stay like that forever. In reality, I was drawing and sinking to the bottom of the pool. Next thing I know, I see my dad and grandpa plunge into the pool, fully clothed, swimming towards me. I don't know who got to me first to pull me out, and I don't remember anything after that. I asked my parents and grandparents about this, and they essentially changed the topic on me, so I have a suspicion it is true, but no confirmation. It just sticks out as an extremely vivid, and oddly happier memory from my childhood. Even after growing up and knowing that I nearly drowned, I still wish to experience that again. What is a weird childhood memory you have that you don't know whether it's true or not? I have this one memory. I just turned 2 years old, and my family and I were at my grandparents' backyard pool. My mom was in the shallow end of the pool with my older brother, and he was clinging to her.
You can do better on the damage.
My dad was on the patio on the side of the shallow end with my grandpa and grandpa. They were barbecuing and chatting. Just a peaceful family day. I remember thinking my mom looked a little annoyed that my brother was being unreasonably afraid of the water, so my 2-year-old mind decided I would show my brother how it was done. What are your core memories? My father would get ready for work long before any rooster crowed. My mother, sister, and I were all intimately aware of his movement ritual. We slept in the same bedroom, a trait he inherited from his time back home. After the alarm clock struck his life, he went out alongside and trudged into the bathroom in his underwear and shower. He moved silently, trying his best not to wake us. Despite his quiet footsteps, I never fell back asleep until the ritual's conclusion. Before leaving to the park, I was 2 hours to be there. He put his hands through my hair, stroked my cheeks, and kissed me goodbye. It was my father's private way of making me special. He endured this long commute so my sister and I could wake up 3 hours later, take a short walk across the street and arrive at school. This daily arrangement had one serious downfall. Upon arriving home, after battling hours of gridlock traffic, he'd have no patience left for us. I'd beg him to come outside, wrestle around, or play a game of catch with me. But he rarely acquiesced to my pleas. My life at elementary school provided me no productive outlets. My socially graceful 6th grade sister would never want to lose anyone. In contrast, I spent my recesses meandering around the playground as a dorky 3rd grader. I had spent the better part of a year smitten over a leggy blonde girl named Valerie, and up until this point, I possessed little interest in school politics. But when our teacher asked if anyone would be interested in running for office, Valerie's hand had gone up. I instantly saw how these two seemingly divergent interests could intersect if I developed a keen interest in politics. I declared myself a candidate for the hidden purpose of local girls' affection. Valerie registered for the position of hostess. Therefore, I signed up for host to increase the amount of time we would get to spend together. Each candidate had 1 week to campaign, advertise, and prepare a speech on why they should be elected to represent the student body. I developed a rousing speech to secure the student body vote. This being my first venture into public speaking, my grandfather decided to serve as my head speechwriter. After hours of writing, erasing, and rewriting, we came to the conclusion that I should stay away from education. Instead, I needed to highlight the critical.
Oh, smooth.
My sister would make the perfect lobsters, but she didn't want anything to do with me. I recently watched the movie Rad and became infatuated with BMX. My mother, trying to satisfy my infatuation, bought me a green BMX sweater. I loved this sweater so much that I decided to wear it to school every day and earn the unflattering nickname Uniform Boy from my classmates. But after a shady backroom meeting, I wasn't confused with my grandfather and sister. He was in with her persuaded her to get out one ties and hired her as a lobbyist. My father was
God.
campaign finance. I had temporarily suspended the old routine of pestering him when he got home for making his 2-hour commute every day. He preferred a routine where he sat on the couch, ate his dinner, and watched me practice my speech while I stood on stacked yellow book pages in our family room. Election day would be held outside on a sunny California afternoon. My confidence was sky high until I arrived at the school courtyard and beheld a sea of students sitting in neat rows of blue chairs. The hours I had spent practicing in front of my supportive family couldn't have prepared me for speaking in front of hundreds of judgmental ears.
Definitely
I
heard
looked down at my piece of
something.
paper and mentally rehearsed each.
Hello? Hello? Yeah, I definitely heard that. Is that a Greyside guy? Yeah, I can see straight over there. Be wary of fire.
What's the most ridiculous thing another man has done to assert his dominance over you? One night in college, my buddies and I were walking down the street around midnight. We were on a street in London where only college kids lived. It was a warm Friday night, so lots of people were out drinking on patios, talking, and playing drinking games. Generally pretty chill. We're done for gaming at home and headed to a bar. We're walking down the road, and across the street, there are some people on a patio. They yell something at us. We weren't really listening, but the tone seemed something like, "Yeah, college bro." I kind of yelled back, "Yeah, man, cool beans," and returned to my conversation. Well, apparently, this guy does not like beans, regardless of temperature, because the next thing I hear is, "Did you just fucking say cool beans?" And see this perfect Skylar pop collar college bro storming off his porch to come across the street at us. I feel like I just pissed in his natural piss light.
Lady. You just got. Oh, don't fall. I just got something. There's definitely something right there. Did they trap me? Yes. Yes, they did.
I can only respond with a confused yeah. My group stops. This dude is crossing the street and running straight at us. It looks like he wants to fight. He came up to us all mad and yells, "Say it again, bro. What did you say?" A girl followed behind him was trying to calm him down. "Just let it go, Chad. They didn't mean it." My friend and I are all like, what the fuck at this point? I was so confused and just responded. I said, "Cool beans." He was pissed and literally started flexing his muscles at us. "Get the fuck out of here, dude, before I kick your ass." I said, "Okay then, later, bro." And we walked off as he stayed angrily flexing in the middle of the street while this girl is tugging his arm, trying to get him back to the house. We made it to the end of the block before my entire group just broke down laughing at the absurdity of it. Till this day I question it. I just don't understand it. Was it supposed to be a prank? Was he just a drunk dick looking to fight? Did he think I was intimidated? Did his whole family got killed in a freak chill beans accident? I'm not sure. Either way, man, what is the nicest compliment you've ever received? I'm a dwarf, so I don't get compliments as much. The best compliment I ever got was by accident. I was walking along the street with my friend, who I've
Oh,
only
I
known for a few
teleported
months,
way
when a
too
young boy
far.
around 6 and his mother overtook us, and the boy was dumbstruck by me. Like his eyes widened and he was practically
Actually,
walking
no, I
backward
didn't.
and turning his head all the way to stare at me.
Yes,
I was used to it and tried to ignore it. I'm only 4 feet tall, and my limbs are disproportionate to my body. It also affects men who have been proposed to by their girlfriends. How did it go? I was made the happiest man that day. Twice. It was the day of my final exam of my 3-year apprenticeship. She took the day off and was more nervous than me when we had coffee together in the morning. I was so nervous and stressed out for the exam that I wasn't thinking much of anything else. I was sure she was nervous for the same reason as I was, and didn't pay much attention. She walked me to my exam and kissed me good luck. 2 hours later, the exam ended. We get our score right after, and I passed. I came outside and she was there waiting for me. We hugged and kissed, and I even cried a little bit. I was so happy. After I calmed down for a bit, we were standing outside with a colleague, having a smoke and talking. I was just so relieved and felt light as air and happy not to have a single thing on my mind that I didn't. My girlfriend, though, was shuffling her feet, not really taking part in the conversation. After what must have been hours for her, she asked what I wanted to do. Going downtown, shopping, or grabbing something to eat. I didn't care at all. Hell, I was so happy I could literally just stand here. She drove to the record store first. We walked to the window to have a look at the record players as we were thinking about getting a new one. "How do you like that one?" She asked, pointing at one in the back. There was...
I need a strength of 30 to will this bitch? I just got to 19.
You will.
Sign next to it with my name on it, and bright as I am, I said it has my name on it. She asked, "What else?" I looked closer and there was writing on the record player, "Let's face the music and dance." I just stared blank at it, and then at her. There were so many things going on in my brain that it was foggy. She looked at me with the sweetest smile and tears in her eyes and said, Now that you are a technician, I wanted to ask you if you also want to be my man? I said I would love to. We hugged and kissed in the middle of the sidewalk. When I went inside to get the record player, I realized there was 3 of the staff standing there smiling and cheering with a bottle of champagne and glasses. It was a 100 out of 10 day. I still have the record player and we use it till this day. And every time I look at it, I relive the best day of my life. Men who have been proposed to by their girlfriends. How did it go? I was made the happiest man that day. Twice. It was the day of my final exam of my 3-year apprenticeship. She took the day off and was more nervous than me when we had coffee together in the morning. I was so nervous and stressed out for the evening. What is the dumbest thing you've ever seen a man do to prove their manhood? Got someone pregnant to prove to his ex that men.
What?
What is the dumbest thing you've ever seen a man do to prove their manhood? Got someone pregnant to prove to his ex that he wasn't the cause of their miscarriage. My friend's brother Mark got his ex-girlfriend pregnant, but they lost the baby. The ex-girlfriend, Kate, got hysterical and blamed Mark, saying that he was infertile or the one who was unhealthy because their doctor actually told them that Mark might have complications. This went on for weeks, where Kate would go off at Mark and say that he was the reason for their miscarriage and take advantage of him when he felt guilty. Fast forward to a lot of toxic fights and finding out, Mark was cheating on her. They broke up. The new girl's name is Jane. Within 2 months of them breaking up, Jane got her pregnant. They immediately got married and had the baby. Now in less than a year of being husband and wife, Jane caught Mark checking in a motel with Kate who was cheating. And as usual, arguments happened, blaming, pinpointing, fights, all that jazz. The juicy part is, Kate tweeted about what happened, saying that she and Mark had some unfinished business. Now the only thing Jane could think of was they only had the baby so Mark could prove to Kate that he wasn't the cause of the miscarriage. Which Mark admitted to after getting drunk with us one day. He said that he purposely didn't use any protection ever since he got with Jane for that reason. And he also told us the real reason for Kate's miscarriage. She was on some hard drugs even after knowing she was pregnant. She knew it and didn't want Mark to know, so she blamed it on him. He only found out later. Mark and Kate are getting back tougher now, and Mark and Jane are in the process of divorce. Jane is left with a 5-month-old baby. Both of them are messed up humans. I just feel bad for Jane. What is the dumbest thing? Man who proposed and she said no. What happened afterward with your life? I started dating my first and only girlfriend at 17. After 6 years of dating, I proposed. She said, no, I'm sorry. I asked why. She said, I've been thinking about this for a while but didn't talk to you about it. I found someone else. Then she broke up with me right then and there. I asked if she cheated, and she said no. We're just friends right now. But he makes me happy when I'm with him, and you just don't. You used to. But not anymore. I tried sabotaging their relationship when I found out he was twice our age. She was 23, he was 45. I tried to screw him over again when I found him begging her for nudes, tattled to her ultra-Christian parents, and did everything I could to be the insane one. Finally realized what I was doing, apologized, and promised never talk to her or her family ever again. I sold the ring and used the money to buy a guitar and a boatload of weed, and spiraled out of control for 3 years. Flunked all my classes, got a dead-end job at a construction gig, and slowly descended into borderline alcoholism. Couldn't leave the house or go to work or do my job without being high. Gained a ton of weight, let myself go. Finally contemplated suicide, planned it out with a 20-page instruction manual on how to make it painless, not screw it up, and not hurt anyone in the process. Never went through with it because I kept getting scared and spending my suicide fund on weed and alcohol. Finally broke down and told my parents all of this. Asked for help. Spent another year in a rehab program with a therapist. Got out and had been clean for 3 years by this September, and still wake up at 3 a.m. feeling sick every couple of months for the way I treated her after having spent 6 years telling her that I loved her. But that's all over, now, and all I can do is learn from it, promise to be better, and keep going. I'm turning 29 in a week, still living at home with my parents, and constantly battling self-loathing and anxiety while working a job for $9.25 an hour. But I pay my parents $300 a month to stay with them, and I'm going back to school. Slowly dragged my GPA from 1.28 to 2.64. I also lost a ton of weight during the pandemic and weighed just 189. Safe to say I won't be worth dating for a long time. I hope I can stop hating myself soon. She and the guy got married right after the pandemic ended. She seems happy. Man who proposed and she said no. What happened afterward with your life? I started dating my first and only girlfriend. Who was the person that you got in bed with that made you go? I never thought this would happen. I was married with a child when a friend of mine started dating the sexiest man I had ever seen. I would visit her Instagram constantly just to drool over the man. He was literally my dream man, and I knew I stood no chance and would never get it. They eventually break up, and I never see his gorgeous face again. He didn't post any pictures on his own social media, and I would still occasionally reminisce how gorgeous he is and only dream to have a man that good looking one day. A few years later, I find myself divorced at 35 with 2 kids and figure I'll have a pretty small pool of men interested. One day I was arguing over the internet about feminism, and a guy was making some dickhead comment, and we went back and forth for a bit. That led to DMs, then text. Turns out he was making jokes in poor taste. He turned out to be a feminist, he just has a dark side of humor, and it's hard to read sarcasm over the internet. After a lot more talking, and I realized that he was the gorgeous ex of my friend, with the fighting slowly turning into flirting. We met up 2 days later at a bar. We hit it off great and talked about a lot of things. One thing led to the next, and we had sex in my car that night. That night in the cramped backseat of my Altima is still the best sex I've ever had. It literally felt like a dream, and I felt like I was 20 again. The chemistry was insane. and he is great in bed. Turns out he doesn't mind being a stepdad to 2 kids either. We have been together for 4 years and got married in October. He's a great dad and a great husband. I still look at him and can't believe I get to have adult movie-level sex with him for the rest of my life. Who was the person that you got in bed with that made you go? Taxi drivers. What's the scariest thing that... Taxi drivers. What is a weird childhood memory you have that you don't know what... Whether it's... What are your core memories? Men. People who met on Reddit and started dating. What's your story? Met him on r/r4r for my city. He was just coming out of self-imposed dating exile since he had been unemployed for a while. I hadn't been in a serious relationship for some time. Something about his post caught my eye, though I couldn't tell you what, exactly. We messaged back and forth for a few days, neither of us thinking it was likely to go anywhere. But we hit it off, and had our first date the weekend. He pre-inquired about my favorite flavor of a breath mint, which I thought was adorable. It turned out I lived about 5 minutes walk from where he worked, and I actually walked past his office multiple times a week. We dated for about a year, and both were really happy, but then he got transferred to another part of the country for work. I drove out with him to help him get set up, and then we flew back so he could wrap up at his previous work location for a few days. Seeing him walk out my door the last day really sucked, because he didn't know if he wanted me to follow him for good, and I wasn't crazy about where he was moving to. Eventually, after a lot of networks and Discord days, he was pretty unhappy without me, and asked me to move with him. So my house and getting a job, and all my friends from that was really scary when I did it. We bought a house together in a new city, and I switched careers. 4 years later, we're still very happy, but I don't like it here. So we are in the process of getting ready to move back to my old side of the country later this year. He proposed a few weeks ago, and we're getting married in a tiny ceremony. What is the dumbest thing you've ever seen? Got someone pregnant to prove to his ex that he wasn't the cause of their miscarriage. My friend's brother Mark got his ex-girlfriend pregnant, but they lost the baby. The ex-girlfriend kicked men who proposed and she said no. People who felt like they would never find a romantic partner and then did. What happened? I was super shy in school. I regularly ate my lunch in the bathroom because I couldn't handle eating in front of other people, then spent the rest of the period hiding in an abandoned corner of the library. I had no friends whatsoever, and I was known around school as the quiet girl. I was very of the opinion that I'd never find the one because I couldn't even handle regular relationships with people, let alone romantic ones. Near the end of my junior year in high school, I finally got formally diagnosed with an anxiety disorder and started on some pills and therapy, which seemed to help immensely. The summer before my senior year, I decided enough was enough and that I would make some friends. Cue the first day of my last year. I was taking AP Biology, and there were about 12 of us. The teacher had us each introduce ourselves to the class. The girl beside me introduced herself as Ellen and said she loved Harry Potter. I was a huge Potterhead at the time, so I instantly clicked with this. When the teacher let us talk freely, I, with bated breath, went up to her. Feeling a bit confident, I asked her if it would be alright if I sat at her table during lunch that day. Lo and behold, she said yes. When I finally found her table at lunch, there were 2 other girls and 1 guy sitting there. I sat down and stayed mostly silent, cowed by the extra people. I was regretting the whole thing and giving up the shot, but also being quiet up to that point. They referenced an obscure show of love. Immediately I responded with another reference, and we hit it off. I was so excited that someone else liked the show on one I forgot to be nervous. We ended up talking the rest of the period, and I discovered we shared a math class directly afterward. He asked me out at the end of the first week, and I said yes. We have been married for 3 years, and Ella remains one of our closest friends. I've never been happier, and it never would have happened if I hadn't taken the plunge. So, at the end of the day, you have to work for it, but you can't look for it. True love comes when you least expect it, but only when you put yourself out there. Don't lose hope. Today I made a customer cry. I work in photo finishing, and I was helping a friendly lady who wanted prints off of her phone. She mentioned that she recently lost all the photos on her phone, so she has to get pictures from the last few weeks printed, in case they disappear again. I found it odd that the photos would just disappear, but the phone was still working. She insisted, despite being a technology illiterate, she wasn't stupid enough to accidentally delete them. She also said that her phone had a memory card. I checked the phone and took the SD card. I put the card into one computer, and it didn't show up at all. So I tried our Windows PC instead, and it told me the disk was unformatted. Her cheap off-brand Android SD card literally corrupted the disk. At this point I was pretty sure the pictures were gone, but I didn't want to crush her hopes yet. Since Windows was interested, I thought there might be a chance. So I took a deep breath, formatted the disk, and threw it into our recovery software. To my surprise, not only did it work, I was able to recover 90% of the photos and video on that card. The lady had been waiting for her prints, so I waited for her to come around to my computer and take a look. She looked at the photos on the screen and literally started bawling, like full-on ugly cry. It was all her most important pics. Her grandson's grand, her dog that had passed away a few months ago, family trips, years worth of pics that weren't backed up anywhere besides in this card. In the end, she bought a new micro SD and I gave her a DVD of the pics at no charge. After paying, she ran behind the counter and gave me a big hug. Today, She came in again with a handwritten letter and a little cake from one of the best bakeries in town. She said I was the best customer service she'd ever had. I'm home now enjoying the cake. Today has been a good day. Today I made a customer cry. I worked in photo finishing and I was helping a friendly lady with one prints off of the phone. She mentioned that she recently lost all the photos on her phone, so she has to get pictures from the last few weeks printed, in case they disappear again. I found it odd that the photos would just disappear, but the phone was still working. She insisted, despite being a technology literate, she wasn't stupid enough to accidentally delete them. She also said that her phone had a memory card. I checked the phone and took the SD card. I put the card into one computer, and it didn't show up at all. So I tried our Windows PC instead, and it told me the disk was unformatted. Her cheap off-brand Android SD card literally corrupted the disk. At this point, I was pretty sure the pictures were gone, but I didn't want to crush her hopes yet. Since Windows was in PC, I thought there might be a chance. So I took a deep breath, formatted the disk, and threw it into our recovery software. To my surprise, not only did it work, I was able to recover 90% of the photos and video on that card. The lady had been waiting for her prints, so I waited for her to come around to my computer and take a look. She looked at the photos on the screen and literally started bawling, like full-on ugly cry. It was all her most important bits. Her grandson's grand, her dog had passed away a few months ago, and the pics that weren't backed up anywhere besides this car. In the end,
Oh damn, that bitch can move. But
so she has to get pictures from the last few weeks printed, in case they disappear again. I found it odd that the photos would just disappear, but the phone was still working. She insisted, despite being a technology illiterate, she wasn't stupid. I know my wife is in love with another man, and that's okay. Dear wife, I first met you when I was 19. I'm 34 now, but I still remember the moment I laid eyes on you. You know how people say, it was love at first sight? Well, I used to always be stupid overused cliche. You were a renaissance painting of life. Skin, and wavy blue-black hair. Your voice was like bells pealing. Your smile, radiant and glowing. I was your first kiss. I was your first boyfriend. Your first love. Your first everything. We dated for 2 years before you broke up with me for the first time. Over some silly argument I don't even remember. We were split for a year, and then you came back into my life. We dated for nearly 3 years this time around before you broke up with me again when I was 25. You were scared by how fast our relationship was moving and wanted to be free. So I let you be free. But God, how it hurt me. We were practically engaged by that time. I was sketching out designs for a ring. I dated other women, but none of them were like you. You also dated other people. Some good men, some mediocre, and some really, really bad. You cried in my arms after one of your boyfriends had yelled at you and left bruises on your cheeks.
damn. Oh shit, that's good. long I've been streaming? I don't even know. It's probably like 2 hours. Yeah, it's been an hour. I'm gonna keep exploring, but I'm probably finna end it in like a couple more minutes. That's a tier. This is the reason I came over, because I see this building from over there, and I was just like, it gotta be. Yeah, I was like, it gotta be something over here. Mystical jellyfish. Oh. Iron shield. You thought I would let you get out the ground? Oh crap! I let him resummon. That is so pretty. I am gonna upload this video to my YouTube. Hello? You still up? You said what? Where you go? Huh? Oh, okay. We can go explore now. I'm gonna go to that tree. Holy. What, right, demon? Oh, you can jump? What is this bell? I want to get on it. Nope, I needed that. Get it. That's what's not in for you right now. I need a higher peak. There's one weird thing. Is he turning around? That'd be some type of way to get up there. Yeah, it turned around. That's the Grace up there. That's the little castle I went by. I ran through. Octopus ahead. Okay. I made it to the base of this tree. What the hell is that? Oh, no, 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 no. It's a fucking mini boss. knew that was a mini boss. He there? You can shoot magic? It just stays right here and walks around. I don't believe it either. Be wary of traps. Trap ahead. I guess this chest is a trap. Yep, they called it us and never opened it. Were you capital? What the f— How did a— I was over here exploring. I was over here exploring. And I opened up and what the f— and I ended up over here. I have to find the graves. I'm not supposed to be here yet. I'm only level 30. Grace. What the left or right? Left. Yep, I got the exact same sword as he do. That scared the crap out of me. That scared a load of crap out of me. No, 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 no! Oh, he can't get through. Holy crap. I thought he was trying to get through. I'm not a high enough level for this. He can get through! That's a dragon? This the castles I was at. You... And the fucking Grace is up there. Whatever that thing was that I looked at, it literally stopped me from crouching, like I couldn't crouch. I legit thought he was gonna chase me. Wait, if you hold it, it do more? I didn't know that. I am not supposed to be here. Okay. What the? It just got super. It just got dark for a second, but. He keeps scaring the crap out of me. You can get through somehow. They said go for the legs and go in close proximity. I'm not fighting that thing yet, so by the way. We just here to piss it off. Okay, that is pretty. He won't leave the steps. I'm gonna let him go. I'm gonna reset the grace, run straight past him, and that's it. Cause I have no idea. I just got teleported here. And I can't lift the platform to go safely down. Magic only did, so like he gotta have like around 1,000 health. Cause Magic only did 97 and they didn't even put a dent on it, like 2,000 health. It was a reflex to try to run away. So he's supposed to protect something. Okay, I need to run back in there. Grab my money. Grab the chest that I saw. Run back. And then let him run away. Let him walk away. And then teleport away. Oh my god. This is very... This is very intense. That can hear me fine, right? Where's it at? Where's it at? Damn! He hit me once! I can't get out of there fast enough. I'm trying to grab my money and run. Wait, he gave me something. What did he give me? Slowly restore HP. That's way better than anything I got. Wish it was a weapon, but hey. Yep, he activates when you get close to the chest. Damn it, I wasn't trying to slide off. Damn it! There's a way to get down there. I don't know how. I just want to get away from him, but at least I can just stealthily grab my stuff, then run away. Wherever that is, it locked my abilities. It's another castle back there. I definitely gotta get Elden Ring DLC now. I think you're supposed to be like level 300 up here. This is how much of the map that I open. So I have to go back up here and explore. I spent most of my time on the stream in the beginning area and fighting bosses that I didn't beat. Mini bosses. I know he at. He's by the cave. Don't forget to follow the YouTube channel. And Instagram. I'm if you fell asleep on the stream or whoever this is or whoever watch it, this place. After I'm done with this, I'm gonna upload the stream. After I wake up, and I'm gonna put it on YouTube. But I think that will be all. I was literally just over there. That's so crazy. I was just over there. But that is so pretty. I'm gonna end the stream here. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for stopping by. Peace out. Don't forget to go follow the YouTube channel. And I'll catch y'all probably today. It's 5 in the morning. Probably sometime today. It's gonna start earlier than usual too. So like 12 in the, not at night, in the morning. If I wake up, or like around 1 or 2, maybe 3. But thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you next time.